Where's my chat at? Come on, stream monitor. What's up, people? How's it going? Wherever you are. All right, so I just played a little chill opening piece of music for you all. And I just noticed I am a rookie with this streaming thing. I started the streams with last Monday's info. So it is not Monday the 13th, but it is Wednesday the 15th. And this is Dial It In. And I'm Darude, and I'm coming to your phones and living rooms and whatnot from my studio. And guess what, peeps? I'm feeling great today. I slept very little last night eventually because I was just here tinkering and planning on things and working on my to-do lists and deleting stuff and organizing things and figuring out new things that I can do with you. For instance, when we do these live things, and I got to sleep around 6 a.m. and I slept till 4. Just got some food, got my coffee here, took a shower, and I'm ready. Let's do this. So, what this Dial It In is about is us connecting. We could talk about music, we could talk about production, we could talk about anything and everything, but it is not technically, say, a production Q&A or anything DJing. It's just me hanging out with you guys, looking at your questions, your thoughts, and the thing that I figured out that we do a while ago, and we tried it last Wednesday, was I've got my WhatsApp number here available for you, and you guys can shoot me messages here. I mean, obviously you can shoot them in a chat as well, but I take it that if you shoot me a message on WhatsApp, you're also giving me your number then, and I might call you back and we'll have a little chat. And I think that would be quite cool. I'm just checking. I hear myself just fine, and I believe you heard the music I played as well. And so, first things first, I hope your lockdown, quarantining, and being careful is going well. I hope you're washing your hands. I hope you're social distancing proper. I personally am not panicked, scared, afraid of this like that, but yes, it is rather unnerving, sort of getting to now starting a second month, being just home and doing nothing else, being with the family, which is in itself really cool. But the normalcy has been broken, so that's quite interesting. So yeah, well, with these streams, I'm going to be trying to make it a new normal for myself. And then if you guys want to come and join hanging out with me on these Mondays at 4 p.m. Finnish time, and Fridays and these Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Finnish time, that would be awesome. I want to give some of myself to you, just my silly thoughts, bad hairdos and whatnot, and I'm here. And I don't know, I hope you get something out of this if you're following, but I also can tell you guys that I love being out doing gigs. I love connecting with people, and then this gives at least some of that back now that I can't DJ for you in a, at a festival or in a club. And then it also gives me a feeling of connection with somebody out there, since I'm not doing that handshaking, hugging, coming on the dance floor with you guys and so on. So let's get to it. I haven't actually sound checked my but let's try this. Hold on, I'm gonna put my headphones on. Let's take a first call. I think this is a fellow Finn. Let's try. And we gotta put it on.
Oh,
hello. Hey. Who am I talking
to? Christian.
Hey, Christian.
Christian.
Moi. So I believe you're a fellow Finn, right?
Yeah.
Is English okay for you?
Yeah, it's okay. It's a little bit rusty, but yeah, I can do it.
It's all good. So, whereabouts in Finland are you, my man?
Well, still living in Tampere, I guess.
Okay. Good, good.
Yeah, what about you?
I am close to West Coast. I'm in Salo.
Oh, okay.
Near Turku.
Yeah. My sister is living at Turku, so yeah. Hello if you're watching this.
All right, cool. So we are live with a couple of dozen people at least. I haven't actually looked at the numbers, but there are some people on Twitch, some on YouTube and Facebook. Where are you watching from, by the way?
Both on Twitch and YouTube, helping people like figure out what are you doing and stuff.
Yeah.
So basically moderating without the rank.
Nice. That's awesome, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
Cool. So, are you a student? Do you have a?
I'm studying at what is in English? Lukio in Finnish, but is it in college?
I guess it's college. Yeah.
Yeah. Like second year, almost closing in.
All right. And what kind of music are you into?
Well, for now, heavy metal and some I don't know, dubstep and stuff. Depends on the mood.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Yeah, I used to. Well, your question was about music stuff, I guess. I grew up with a sort of 80s hair metal, I would call it, like the Bon Jovis and Twisted Sisters and stuff like that. But there were a lot of that stuff. Judas Priest, Scorpions, Rat, Wasp, Kiss, and then
I see old school headbanger right there.
Yeah, then the Offspring and Green Day, Bad Religion. Oh, from the Finnish ones, I was, and I still am a big fan of Chlamydia, which the band has a name, Chlamydia.
Yeah.
You got to respect that in some ways. And the funny thing and cool thing is that I've actually, over the years, gotten to meet Vesku several times. And
oh, that's nice.
He's a nutcase, but he's a really cool nutcase. I really like him. And, I respect somebody who, him and the band, of course, not just him, but him and the band, they've created a whole long career out of music as well, so got to respect that. And back then I used to skateboard, which by the way I picked up a little last year again, and all the punk stuff, both Finnish and foreign, were listened to in the background when doing that.
Yeah, but it's pretty cool. Like thinking about Chlamydia right now, like a quick talk about them, because they are so different from the mainstream, but they still produce music that is mainstream.
Yes. Yeah, and I think, it's not, I don't know if the guys like to be the same or be put in the same category, but I really like Apulanta as well, in the sense that, first of all, I like some of the music a lot. I'm not the great expert in all of their back catalog, but I've obviously heard tens of their hits over the years on the radio, and what I like about them is, first of all, the music, but then they created their careers themselves as well. They did what they did, and in the Finnish scene, there might have been similar sounds from bands, but they created their own own career, their own how they tour, what they do when they are on the road, and then like the label stuff and whatnot. And I respect that a lot. There's a lot more to it than just writing songs.
Yeah, because they started from scratch, I think, like doing just like basic stuff from like garage and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And so similarly to Chlamydia, I mean, they have their own, very much their own sound. You hear it from the first chord that, oh, this is their thing, you know, the guitars and whatnot. And it's simple, effective, and when you see them live, it's just like, I mean, if you are into that kind of music, it just works.
Yeah,
And it's fun.
Well, like it's my like it used to be one of my favorite like bands, but now like I'm listening few songs from them. But yeah. So, what's your favorite song from Chlamydia?
I like their version of is it Vanha Holvikirkko or whatever the
Yeah, I think so.
that classic sort of Finnish evergreen. But I mean, there's so much. You put me on a spot though, because hold on. But I did a cover of a Chlamydia song, by the way, or a remix back in the day. Did you know that? Oh,
I did not.
Let me look it up for you. So, hold on a sec. Let's see if I can.
By the way, are there like any photos of you from like the Headbanger days?
Not that I would show you.
Oh.
It's called Aleksi. Aleksin Painajainen is the original song, and I made a sort of version of that. Is that? I mean, I'll play that for you.
Like, okay.
I know you are gonna hear it in like a delay, but
it's okay. Have you like published this in like YouTube or something?
it's actually out on Chlamydia's, was it 15-year anniversary CD?
Oh.
And so you could find it if you just check like, I don't know, iTunes or Spotify, or definitely.
Yeah. Like.
But so the thing is that I really didn't use anything from their original, because the original is wrong BPM for me and this and that. So I made like this chill track, and the only actual reference to the original track, like the chords are inspired by their song, of course, and the whole thing is. I was listening to it when I made it, but I made this like electronic sort of chill out track, and then I don't know if you remember the lyrics at all, but it was about like it was scary stuff. Elsa, oh, hold on. So Aleksi was the one who was like having this Painajainen nightmare thing.
Yeah.
And so in the end of the song, it turns out that it was Elsa who came with, was it polkupyörä, and the light of the bicycle was what scared in the dark. And so I screamed Elsa perkele in my mic, and just that's sort of the only thing that is directly referring to the original track. But they liked it, and it was really fun, because their anniversary compilation had like their best of first CD, I think, and then the second CD and the third CD, I don't remember anymore how it was, but at least one CD, maybe two, were other bands making their own versions of their songs, and there was probably like Apulanta and I don't know who, everybody like from the Finnish like rock and that kind of scene making their own versions, and then my track was the only electronic track, so it was quite funny.
But like have there been like any influence from like the bands that you have listened to like in your past to your music now?
Absolutely. Like I've always said that I'm sort of my education in music, it comes directly out of sort of listening to radio back then, and radio and those CDs. And so I started listening to dance music on the side quite early as well, starting from something like Jean-Michel Jarre, which wasn't dance music, but was electronic music, instrumental synth stuff, and then Italo disco and all kinds of Italo dance and laser dance stuff, whatever that is. People should look it up. It's fun and amazing melodic stuff. And then I think, like, I've never been any sort of deep underground, even in dance music, even if I've created stuff for clubs and so on. So I've never shied away from melodies and even like commercial stuff. But also that's not my point. I just make what I make and something comes out.
Well, but it has been like pretty good stuff coming out. But yeah.
I'll give you an example of influences of that stuff. So my third album labeled this, it has 2 songs that are heavily influenced with Twisted Sister and Bon Jovi. The song Tell Me and My Game both have this guy Toni Nuotio singing on them. And Tell Me, I didn't take anything from a Bon Jovi track, but I heavily was influenced by basically the key of a certain song and then sort of some stuff that was said and how it was sang in it. But I never even, for instance, told Tonto that, but I sent him an instrumental and some of my lyrical ideas, and then he sang them. And he's a rock dude, so it became like a rock vocal for an electronic track. And then I went even a little further with the track called My Game, which I produced with Joonas Hahmo, a Finnish buddy of mine, electronic dance music producer as well. So the idea was to do something like people used to do or are still doing, to sample an old song and make a new track out of it. Yeah. So I wanted to sample an old punk song, but then I actually made a very simple song. I made the lyrics myself, vocals, and a synth background to it. And then I sent it to Tonto, who again is like a rocker, and he played the guitars, the bass, the drums, and sang, and so made this basically like 3-man punk song on his own, but I got the parts for it. So now I didn't just have the original track to sample, but I got all the drum parts and everything. And so My Game comes out of that. And if you listen to the original version, the beginning is very much like a punk song-ish sound. There's guitars and drums, and then it goes into this electronic thing. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't want to play those tracks on a stream right now due to copyright reasons. I'm keeping this this one, but check out both Tell Me and My Game, and you'll definitely hear rock sort of influence in there. And there's also Gareth Evans singing on My Game as well, and big influence from him and Joonas on the track. And then Tell Me is definitely a big collab with Tonto as well.
Oh, okay, but okay, I have one more question if you have time for it. But yeah, what's your favorite place to play in Tampere?
Oh wow. Well, so my first ever gig in Tampere was when you were quite little. It was 15.
I'm just 18, so yeah.
Yeah, so you were very little. A little gleam in your dad's eyes. So I played at a place called Night Train, my first ever gig, 5th of December 1999. Oh. And that doesn't exist anymore. But I mean, I played at Pakkahone a couple of times in the recent years, and that's obviously a great sort of gig venue, and it's big enough. It packs a good bunch of people, and they have good tech and whatnot. So.
Yeah, just like waiting for your next gig at Tampere, because I just turned 18, but yeah.
Yeah, trust me, me too. All right, man. Hey, thanks for picking up, and stay safe.
Thank you for calling me. Yeah, you too.
Cool. Bye.
Yeah, bye.
Rate the quality of your call. 4 stars. Thank you. All right, guys. Wow. So that was the first one. And now I'm gonna... My WhatsApp number does work. I'm getting messages to it all the time. Let's see. And so, guys, when you shoot me the WhatsApp message, please, just because I want to know, just please tell me where you're from. So, like, there's now somebody from Romania. I might pick you pick your brain in a sec. And then please put your name there as well, or nickname, or whatever you want me to call you, so that I'll know, because I'm not saving all of these numbers as we go, so I don't see who you are unless you tell me. The MX APR, I don't know if you're trolling me or whatnot, but my WhatsApp number is getting messages all the time, so I know it does work. Rosie Sanders on Facebook. Hi, did you happen to know that I got married in Savannah, Georgia? All right, cool. Uzi Master, yes, I know I am a loser and I forgot to update the title of the stream, which I will do after the fact. So it is not Monday the 13th, but it's Wednesday the 15th, and this is Dial It In and not in the studio. My apologies. I'm gonna try harder for Friday. Let's see, guys. Hello from Romania. Well, hello to you as well. Thanks for getting in touch. Oh, this is a good one. So, what are my dream collabs? That's a good question. I always say, when people ask me about my dream collab singer, I always say Madonna. All right, whoever is trying to call me on WhatsApp, I'm not going to pick it up, because that's just not what I do. I'm going to be happy and take your message, and I'll call you if you message me, maybe, but I'm not going to be picking up. All right, I'll get back to you the dream collabs. There was a question here that I wanted to check. Oh, okay, so Osmond, you are looking for, oh man. You are looking for the housey remix of Feel the Beat. I'm going to... I'm really having a blank moment right now. It's Sampo Hänninen and JS16, and it is, yeah, housey. Missing link, I think remix it is. Let's just see there, and it's this one, right? Yep, I'd guess. Cool. Yeah, so it is on Spotify, for instance, Missing Link remix, and it's my my buddy JS16, or actually it's Sampo Hänninen, who then, at least back then, to my knowledge, produced his own stuff as well. But I think this was made together with JS16, and it's really different from the original. I really like it. It's cool to play it in a sort of loungy, housey situation. Yes, Nick, exactly. It's kind of a mix of housey and UK garage stuff. So my dream collab, my about singers, my standard default response is always here. It's Madonna, just because it's Madonna. She is, you know, the king and queen of pop. You know, if you ask me, She rules, and you know, she's had a million different hats on the over her career, so many different styles, and sort of sometimes naughty, sometimes nice, sometimes, you know, pop, sometimes more underground, sometimes, you know, I don't know, whatever. And my favorite Madonna album is, well, actually I have two now. It's the Ray of Light one, and then the one where they sampled ABBA. I don't know the name of that album, but both of them are sort of the dance music ones, and they are great. Well, of course she's also hot, but you know, I'm talking about, and respectfully talking about, her sort of career. And you know, people like Madonna they can be very, what's the word, like dividing or polarizing or whatever. People love or hate, or there's so many aspects of her career, for instance, that you could pick apart and say that she didn't do well or blah blah blah. But I don't care. She's obviously done so well, and it would be a dream of mine to, I don't know, get to work with her. I actually have a cool story about Madonna. Well, at least to me it was cool. When I was doing Top of the Pops in UK in it was either 2000 or 2001, and I don't remember which track it was. It might have been maybe Feel the Beat when I was doing that there. Madonna was the same, on the same day she was recording her something at the BBC studios as well, and it was probably around the time when her song Music came out. I'm not sure. I don't remember that, and that's irrelevant. So I knew she was there, and I saw her entourage going, you know, on one of the hallways of the studio. We were in the same studio, and dressing rooms were like not around a corner, but you know, a little bit walking distance from each other. And obviously she was around with surrounded like 5 bodyguards at all times. So I had, you know, didn't even dream of like popping in her room and saying hi or something. But because of the bodyguards and stuff, I just thought that, well, I have to do something. I have to say hi somehow. So I had my autograph cards with me. I was on the road as well with my, you know, promoting around UK. So I just wrote something like mad respect, you know, always been a big fan, and, you know, just wanted to say hi. I said something, and then I've literally just sort of gotten into this industry, and, you know, I'm working my butt off or whatever, like hats off, something like that. And I thought nothing of it because there was no getting to her. And so then I went and saw one of her people, and I handed the card, and I thought that I'll never, you know, hear back or anything, but I at least had to do it. I gave them the card, and then a couple of hours later, I had done my thing, and I had, you know, I was going to leave, I guess, walking down a corridor, and I heard something like, "Hey, you," blah, blah, and my record company peeps and myself were stopped by this guy, and he's just asked me if I wanted to come say hi to Madonna. And around we turned, went there, shook her hand, just said something very stupid, mumbly, mad respect again, or whatever it was, probably nothing smart, and collected my jaw. It was awesome. She was awesome then, and she was in, you know, great shape, and I wanted to like pull my short t-shirt sleeves down so that she wouldn't see my tiny little arms, because hers were like, and it was cool. And while I've not liked everything she's done musically over the years, I still have mad respect for her, and you know, I wish she'll make more dance music. Yeah, exactly. Confessions on a dance floor or outside the dance floor. And that was the name of the album, yeah. Yeah, Ray of Light was the one, I believe William Orbit producing it, and that was a very cool album for me. Yeah, so let's Demex APR, I don't know how you say your name. I don't know what's wrong with the number for you, but you should, you know, the +358 that I have there, that's a country code. In some countries, you need to do something different instead of the plus. Have you tried that? Nick Wax, I agree. It was masterful. And what I find very cool about that album is that it sounds very much like Madonna, but then at the same time it sounds very different from what she had done before. And it was, if you listen to the album, the arrangements necessarily weren't suitable for like DJ play, but a lot of the sounds were something that you could just almost directly just played in like a trance set or something like that. Yeah. And you're correct, absolutely. Sort of what was your word? Milestone, yeah, in evolution of pop music, but also like dance music too. You know, say what you want, but Madonna has been one of the biggest influencers on bringing dance music, like our sounds and our production type of stuff, to masses, because she is the pop artist she is, and whatever she does goes big. But I mean, she's chosen to work with somebody like William Orbit, and you know, the Whatever Candy album, Hard Candy, I wasn't really agreeing on a lot of the sounds, but that's just because of I don't like that style necessarily. But I mean that as well. If you think of, now pardon me, I don't mean any offense to anybody, but if you think of like non-dance music listener who would be like 40 or 50 years old or something like that, doesn't want to have or know to have anything to do with dance music, but then all of a sudden you hear a song from Madonna, you don't think if it's dance music or not, you just listen to it, and if you like Madonna, you maybe like that as well, and you know, that way you'll just, you know, subconsciously get roped into that sound as well. Oh yeah. Above and Beyond remix of What It Feels Like for a Girl. It is an absolute classic. Well, yeah, Vogue. Yeah. Yeah, Vogue was one of those that just snuck 909 drums into everybody's minds. And obviously at that time there were others too, but if you think of the level that happened and how many people heard that, and you know, the snare rolls and fills and whatnot, absolutely massive. Dream collabs. I want to collab with anybody and everybody. It doesn't necessarily have to do with how big the name is, but there obviously it's easy to say. Singers like Adele would be amazing. There are you know, several. Say, you know, Backstreet Boys. I used to listen to them back in the day as well. And last year, I went to see them live in Helsinki, Finland, with my family. We introduced Backstreet Boys to our son, and I actually went and got to say hi to Howie in the backstage, and I really enjoyed the show. But those guys know how to sing. Like they still got it, and it would be cool to maybe work on a remix or work on a collab track with them and get like, you know, 5 sets of vocals, layer mixing. That could be cool. And I'm, like I said, I've never sort of shied away from pop or commercial sounds, because I don't think of music exactly like that. I like what I like, and if music has energy or it's sort of emotion or something like that, that just speaks to me or makes me move, I don't care what genre it is or if it's commercial or not. I'm trying to think of I watched American Idol season something like 7 or 8 a long time ago when we still lived in the US, and I would really love to collab with Phil Phillips, for instance. She seems like such a nice guy, and some of the songs that I've heard from him are so far from me, but so catchy. Like the hooks are catchy and cool. What about Alma, Napro, Anapu, Bess, Evelina? All of those girls, or ladies, I'm sorry, they have amazing voice. Well, Bess, I'm actually not that familiar with, but the others I am. I'm sorry, Bess, if you're watching, don't take this the wrong way. But they all have great voices, and I would be happy to work with pretty much any one of them. Fun to collaborate with that you'd never expect. Okay, who would that be? I'm just. Oh wow. I gotta. Well, wow. There's so many. Sorry, guys. I'm just. Well, of big names or great singers or performers, both Adam Levine from Maroon 5 and Pink come to mind right now. I don't know if Pink would like me or vibe with me at all, but she's such a badass that would probably be very cool to be around or in a studio with somebody like her. And she seems so on top of her game that she'd probably deliver, and she'd probably make me work my ass off to try to keep up. I don't know. Is it better to produce now or easier than it was back then? It's definitely easier to technically get stuff done, absolutely. But just making music, compose and create hooky stuff and create meaningful stuff is still sort of the same. And I think the only thing I think is sort of different now is that because of the technology and it's being cheap and all the development in hardware and software, it is, and I'm careful saying this, but it's too easy to get into production in the sense that I've seen many people, many up-and-coming artists sort of skip so many steps that they forget to, or they don't have time to foster the content and their career. Like back then, when you had to read, you had to study, and you had to save money for sometimes, for me, years to get to buy something. It was so much time and effort and everything put into it that you sort of wanted and had to also learn sort of, I don't know, all the steps. But now, for instance, when you get a template you buy for your DAW, be it Logic or be it Ableton Live or Fruity or whatever, and you just put it in and then you tinker your own melodies in, but it's almost like pre-mixed for you and whatnot. It's great to get doing stuff quickly, but you're literally like skipping a lot of valuable steps where you gain info by doing and gain understanding by doing things, why you do stuff. And I feel now looking back and that a lot of the process that went into studying, learning the hardware, learning mixing, learning gain staging, everything like that, that also steered me and the style of music that I made and steered my career and the taste and everything and my development as a writer as well in the right kind of way for me. And like I said, it's amazing that you could just jump in and start making music, because the more the merrier. I'm not against everybody making music, but it's just like there's a little point, there is some point to people being like, well, hey, so you should know how to mix vinyl and CD without sync before becoming a DJ. The same thing is like you should know how to handle a keyboard and how to create at least basic synth sounds before you get the ready-made sounds and use ready-made stuff for all of that, because there's so much sort of deeper connection and knowledge when you actually know the building blocks of the thing. That's well, Timothy, for me, looking back, like, yeah, it kind of ruins the pleasure of learning production, but I would say it's not that, that person doesn't know that it ruins something, right? But the point is that you learn a lot in the process of production and learning the production. So that's the thing. And you get, in my opinion, so much deeper knowledge of the whole craft and your whole career when you know everything. Well, you don't have to know how to do everything, but when you know where everything comes from, right? Okay, so let's see. Boom. Fingerprint work. Okay, so collabs. Rieskalähteen koulu. No, missä on Rieskalähteen koulu? Kuulostaa tutulta. All right. Jordan from Ireland recently got an email that Smash the House wants to hear more of his music. Demi and like Mike's label, and he's stuck on making a really heavy drop. Any tips? Wow. Not really. Huh? It depends. I mean, it's just tips on a heavy drop. Depends on the style of music and everything, but I would create a build-up with sort of increasing energy, like pitch sweep up, noise sweep up, all that kind of stuff. Maybe a snare roll, or maybe a snare, not a roll, but a pattern, like rhythmic pattern. And then at the same time, I would be thinning it out bass-wise. So if there was some bass in the breakdown, and towards the build, it would be thinner and thinner and thinner. And then on the one, everything comes back in. Depends on your style. Like, I'm a trance guy, sort of, mostly, or of that sort of production mindset. So everything comes in on the one. But then if you listen to a lot of EDM or housey stuff, there's very few elements when they first come in. So the kick is one of the main ones and one of the only ones, maybe a bass and a clap or something like that. Whatever has the biggest impact on the one for your track. And one thing I do myself is that when my track goes to a breakdown, I usually either on the one when it goes to a breakdown, or then the boom and fade 1 or 2 bars, I'll reduce my master volume by 1 to 2 or so dBs, and then it stays the same until the 1. So a few milliseconds before 1, I put it back up to 0, basically. Well, you should know what I'm talking about. And so over the breakdown, when it's all already sort of quieter and calmer, people don't realize that it lost, so to say, 2 dBs or 1 dB, whatever the difference for your track is good. And then when it kicks back in, you've been thinning it out while obviously ramping up something, but on the middle and high frequencies, maybe the build-up. And then on the 1, when the bass comes in and it's 2 dBs louder, basically, and everything, it's just grander, bigger. But so, yeah. Let's see how my angle looks like there. And now we gons. Let's see. Let's do a call. I wonder if India hears me.
Hello.
Hello. Is this India? Hi, this is Darude calling. You sent me a message.
Yeah, I sent you a message.
Yes. Are you all right?
I can't believe you are calling me.
Well, I am. Do you happen to follow the stream
I'm
still?
your big fan from India.
All right. Whereabouts in India are you?
Actually, my question was who is your favorite trans DJ?
Yes. Who's my favorite trans DJ? You know what? The funny thing is that I sort of don't think about it like that because I rarely see any other DJs other than local openers, and then sometimes when I get to do a festival or similar event, then I see other people DJ. So my favorite, well, don't get me wrong, I have favorite DJs, but my favorite DJs are heavily, or the perception is heavily influenced by their productions as well, of course. So, and then also their personalities, because I've met and I know several of my favorite people, favorite DJs. So it's easy for me to throw, for instance, Ferry Corsten. He's one of the most fun guys I know, and he's a great DJ. He, when I hear him DJ and when I see him DJ, he is, he's cool, he plays nice music, and he doesn't take himself too seriously. So and you can see that he loves what he's doing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Actually, is my idol.
Say again, sorry?
Actually, Ferry Corsten is my idol.
No, yeah. Well, there you go, man. That was easy. But there's so many, like, I think of a DJ set, music first, and the feeling, and then like the third or fourth is sort of tech, like how great the people are at the actual technical DJing, because I think DJ sets are mostly about the feeling and the programming, the track selection, and then whoever is the DJ, the guy or a girl or group, they create the atmosphere, and to go to a gig, when I DJ myself, I like to think of it as not from a technical aspect and not even specific single pieces of music that I play, but the night. And I like to think that people come to my shows because they want to just have fun together. And if I can facilitate that by them seeing me and having fun and enjoying everything I do, I think that is infectious.
That's the most important thing.
Yes, I think so. Yes. All right. So, how is your lockdown going in India? Are you staying safe and healthy?
Yeah, I'm safe, but it's too boring to stay at home.
Well, yeah. Trust me. that's why I'm doing these streams so that I can stay in touch with you guys, and also it's a fun thing to do on top of my sort of regular production stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Do you have another question?
Actually, to be mm,
If not, that's fine as well. You can also throw me another message if you want.
yeah, actually, I can't. I'm getting nervous actually.
It's all right, man. I'll let you go, and we'll talk another time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Send you a message next time. We'll talk.
Cool. All right. Later.
Thank you. Thank you for calling.
No problem. Bye. Cool. Marco, yes, I would love to do a collab with Ferry. He's such a nice guy, and he's such a talented dude as well, so it would be cool. All right, so John is the English version of your name. I don't know how to say that. I guess Joa. He's being naughty. He's doing his texting while in class, so I can't call him right now. Maybe he shouldn't be doing that. Okay, cool. Cool, let's do this. Let's try. Did I reach Timo?
Yeah, that's right.
Hi, how are you?
A bit stressed.
Oh no. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, not that I'm not, but right at this moment I'm quite okay because I'm sort of keeping my mind off bad stuff and calling you.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's just that I have a deadline tomorrow within 24 hours. So
Oh.
I think that's kind of a key issue.
All right. Well, do you have a time to chat with me for a moment?
Oh yes, definitely.
All right.
A much needed break.
Cool. So you were asking, how do I get inspiration in the studio? What is my favorite thing to do personally, musically? Well,
Yep.
so inspiration is an interesting thing. A lot of times there's so many things, but a lot of times I come to the studio and I just pick up from whatever I was doing earlier. And so basically I go to my Logic and take the latest recent track. So I just continue working on something. So there's not that much sort of inspiration that I need to try and go and get from somewhere, because it just is there. I know what I need to be doing, or at least some of it, what I need to be doing on that track or that project. But then when I start a new track, often, I might be driving around, I might be walking our dog, I might be out with the son or daughter, and then just something comes up, like I hear a sound or I hear something in my head and I need to get it out. So I often take my phone out or my watch and just hum something to it, or record the sound that I hear or something like that, and just try to make a memory mark of what's happening at the moment. So when I have a chance to actually work on stuff, I try to get in the same mindset, whatever I was thinking at that moment, or whatever the sound or the ambience was. And so then I could just try to remember what I was doing. And the hummed melody, I'll never use those anywhere like as is, but it could be just like doo 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 doo, and then with the background noise or whatever, I'll grab what I was thinking. And then that just steers me to, I don't know, find the right sound or find the right keys. Yeah, but then sometimes, I've talked with the wife, or sometimes I've talked with, another producer or something, and we just determined like, house music or trance music or big build up, short build up, or weird sound, this sound, that sound, and then there's just one thing that I sort of loosely think of, and I sit here and I start messing around. So, and then again, I say this a lot, and I'm sometimes worried that the doctors are going to come get me, but I hear things in my head, and sometimes
I think.
and sometimes I don't have an idea, but then I put a drum loop on, for instance, just from a sample pack, a drum loop. I might put a little delay on it or something like that makes it rhythmically interesting, and then I just again start hearing things in it. Like a drum loop might have a tonal part to it, and then when you have an echo to it or some sort of rhythmic addition, then I often start hearing sort of patterns melodically and rhythmically in it, and then I find other sounds that I try to play it out, and often it doesn't come out as I want to, but it goes somewhere from it.
That's oh yeah, actually that's a very interesting way to produce. I think sometimes I think you mentioned this because sometimes when I hear certain samples, there's like maybe you have a projection of what an actual song may actually sound like in your head with the sample.
Mm-hmm.
But personally, I find it very hard to catch it because by the time I launch my DAW, everything is gone.
Yeah.
All the inspiration.
But here's what I do a lot of. And one of my key things that I get inspired by is other people's music. Like hands down, obviously that's sort of a given. I didn't even think of saying that first. Yes, so a lot of times I might be in a car, or I might hear something on TV or a movie, or just hear, or at my DJ set I play somebody else's piece of music, and I'm like, oh, holy crap, this, either build up works great, or chord progression is amazing, or sound is great, this and that, and I'll never sort of, or I actively try not to copy anything like that musically that somebody's done, but I draw inspiration from things. And what I used to do back when I was beginning, and what I still do a lot, and it has to do something with what you just said, I study other people's music quite analytically sometimes. I sometimes write down when stuff happens or what comes in and how and blah, blah, blah. But I consciously don't bring that song in my DAW. And I consciously don't even listen to that song at that session. But I have the memory mark of the whole thing. And that's the whole thing. Like I actively try not to copy anybody's work like that. But I try to steal the inspiration or whatever that thing in that one track is. And like you said, sort of using your words, but by the time I get to my DAW, I've sort of forgotten about details, but I have a feeling of what I heard and what I like to do. So I think that filters nicely for it to be sort of safe to take the inspiration, but not to copy the actual stuff, what the other person had, or the band or whatever had put in their music.
So it's more of like trying to achieve the feel and the vibe of the music that, because when you listen to it,
yes.
you got to
yes, how it made me feel. I try to create a track that would make somebody else feel the same way. Or when I listen to my track, it makes me feel the same way I felt when I heard that thing.
Ah.
Yeah. So
what?
Go ahead. Sorry.
What was the most? What was the sample that one sample that stands out to you that probably inspired you the most to produce any of the songs that you have produced so far?
That is a really good question. That's and I don't think anybody's asked me that specific question before. So I don't know if there's a sample. I need to sort of think back to my old tracks. I don't know if I can. Well, you know what? Actually, one sound is something that I'll quickly pull up. A thing that is not a sample, but it's a sound from. You gotta give me a minute. Let's see, bus. I'll put because I've got Logic here. Okay, so where do I find?
Oh no, maybe it's Sandstorm.
No, no. I'm actually. the Sandstorm, those sounds are they are after I started making music. So, you know, that's not the first thing I've made. So that, while it definitely defines my career, for sure, in many ways, but it's not the, that's not sort of what I'm getting at. But hold on, here, this. I don't. You're gonna hear it with a little bit of delay, I guess, because us talking is real time for us, but then the stream is a little late.
Yeah.
So, for sure, the organ bass of Korg M1 synth, whoever is familiar with that, that's definitely one of those sounds that were one of the first ones in dance music that I tried to find so that I could use it myself. And that's that sound. It's actually coming from a Korg Triton synth plugin that I'm so very happy about, because I used to use Triton a lot. I don't know if you guys can see in the back corner of my studio, there's a Triton hanging out there, and I don't need it anymore. I love the synth and I'm going to be using it here and there, but now I have that in a plugin format. So it's that sound. I mean, there were several tracks like Robin S. Show Me Love that was using that sound or similar, like the organ bass line in like a clubhouse song. So I would say that that's one of those sounds that probably affected me in a way that I started getting interested in my own dance music productions.
That's interesting. I never knew an organ would be something inspiring for this.
Yeah, but
just one last question.
Yeah, go ahead.
If you don't mind me.
Yeah.
So I noticed that you actually have the hardware synthesizer
Mm-hmm.
and the emulation plugin. So do you believe in the notion that the hardware can so-called never be replaced by a software because it doesn't achieve that warmness or that
no.
authenticity?
No, I don't. Well, let me clarify. For instance, so the Triton is a digital rumpler. So that is digital waveform-based, sample-based synthesizer. And the only thing analog about it, well, I don't know it technically exactly, but just go with me here. The only thing analog about it is that it has to have a digital to analog converter in place to output the analog sounds out of the analog outputs, and that would be the warming thing if you wanted to think like that. But I used that synthesizer digitally, actually, going from the what do you call the optical output to my optical input in my audio interface even back then. So I went all digital with that anyways. It's true that if you listen to the Korg plug-in synths versus those, they have a little bit of different sound because their effects section, for instance, had something different going on, a little bit less maybe CPU power at that point and whatnot, different algorithms than they have now in those plugins. But they are otherwise full replicas. They and actually more. So that's not a thing with the Triton. Then there's Nord-Rack 2, which is Nord-Lead rack version. That is an analog, virtual analog synthesizer. So it emulates an analog synth, but it's a digital one. So that's a moot point again because the internals are digital. It has analog outputs, of course, and there's quirks to it. But then if you think of it basically has code in it, and but it has specific digital hardware though, which you might or might not be able to replicate if you wrote a plug-in version of it. I don't know. This, on the other hand, here, my Moog Sub 37 is actually quite a recent purchase for me. My dear wife got it for me for Christmas, and it is a true analog synth, and it has an amazing sound, and it's actually my only real analog synth right now. But what is amazing about it, it's digitally controlled, so I can save patches and whatnot on the DAW, and it has a unique sound, and I don't think you can replicate the warmth and whatnot. But I don't think sounds being warm or cold or whatever, digital versus analog, because you can make a sound warm inside a computer as well. You can treat it with all kinds of saturation, or you can dirty it up. You can use different filters, and if you want to, you can also go out the box, go to an say analog EQ or compressor, and go back in, and that way heat the sound. But those differences are sound-wise are so minuscule that if you're hung up on those, maybe, I don't know, maybe that's maybe the music making production-wise and productivity is not your thing anyway, because back in the days, people recorded and released mono music made with crappy gear and ancient recording devices, and they still were listened to by millions of people. So the technology side of it has never been the thing. The only thing that I do know, and I myself as well like, analog versus digital or plug-in versus a real thing, is that it's so nice, obviously, to have your hands on something and have the actual filter knob that controls the actual filter. So you hear and connect your movement to the sound changing, versus doing it on a screen with the mouse. I mean, that's the thing that I think is most different from analog, not analog, but hardware versus software.
The tactile feedback that you get from
exactly.
playing.
But then again, like my keyboard here, you can assign, or actually this auto assigns knobs to certain things, and I can program them. So for instance, a filter could always be this button here. So whether I'm controlling that one from here, or the Triton on the screen, or other synths that I have, this is always the filter. So I have tactile knob turning assigned to the main things that I wanna tweak. So I don't know. I don't think about that too much. I just do.
That's very interesting. Okay, just one last quick question. Do you have any plans, or maybe in the future, to release a sample pack?
Yes.
That's very interesting. All right, thank you, Darude. I really appreciate this
Cool,
call.
man. Thanks.
Fan service.
Thanks for picking up.
You too. Have a good day.
Later, man.
Bye.
All right. That was cool. Good to touch base with. Wow. Timo from Singapore. That was it. Sorry. All right, cool. So let's see. I'm going to catch up with some other questions. Jim Lund. Yes, it is enabled to push, and now I think this is sort of a disgrace, because right now it's covered by a phone, couple of mic transmitters, and a couple of whatever. There's an iPad. So I love Ableton Live, but I don't use it as my main production DAW. And I got the Push 2 because I want to learn it, and because I want to get in the Ableton mindset of production as well, because I've done collabs with people who work in Ableton, and I like the idea of well, first of all, being able to fluently collab with people on another DAW, but also the mindset working with Ableton is sort of, it steers me to a different place than looking at Logic, and it's cool and it's fine, but I'm not really quick with Ableton yet. While I know everything it can do, but the key commands and looking at the screen and how it works and whatnot, it doesn't come to me equally fast as Logic does. But yes, so what I want to do with this and have done a little bit with this, just like have that tactile feeling that we talked about. What I love about is the screen, and you can see, like, you know, the knobs that you're touching, they're assigned to the correct parameters. You can see stuff moving. It's a synth, or it's a plug-in controller that gives you back a lot of that tactile feeling that you can lose when you're working only in a box. And then the other thing is that I used to do live shows back in the day, initially with a hardware sequencer and sampler and synth and effects unit and so on. And then around 2002, 3, 4, 5, when I still did 3, 4, yeah, 5. When I still did some live shows, I did use Ableton as my sort of backing track thing. I had pre-made parts of tracks and this and that, and then whatever I did live on top of that, it was programmed to run in Ableton, and then I played my live stuff on top. And I want to go back to that, and like I want to do a tour where it's still sort of my regular show, but I'm incorporating, if not the whole live set, then DJing and every other track or a couple of bunches of tracks here and there that I'll actually do live using the push, and maybe I'll bring the sub 37, something like that, and just add a little bit of live aspect to my DJ sets as well. And what I like about it, of course, because it's purpose built, it has, you have access to live on such deep level. So that's right there, by the way, is probably one of my future in the studio streams will be about. Okay, so Rob, by the way, you can make any typos you want, man. You're so gracious helping me out with this stuff. I do not care if you do typos, man. You're allowed. Why do I have two laptops? This laptop right here is my main laptop for music, and the other one right there is my old laptop that is now in streaming duties, so that's why. No. Yeah. Okay. Tyko Tamminen, what do I think about Behringer analog synth clones? I'm very conflicted. I don't think I'll be buying Behringer stuff because it's kind of, I don't know. It's really conflicting. It's cool that they are cheap. It's cool that more people can get their hands on analog stuff, but at the same time, the company is, but the main guy is sort of directly, I guess, just taking other people's ideas and putting them under his name. I don't know. It's really weird and conflicting because everybody knows that the 303 is the Roland 303, and then now he's made new versions of it, and everybody still thinks of the Roland 303 when even if they bought the Behringer one. I don't know. But it doesn't keep me asleep at night. Keep me awake at night, sorry. You'd like to see the cable management. You know what we can try? Let's see if we can. Let's see if we can do this. Hold on a sec. There. Okay. Yeah, bear with me, peeps, for a sec. Let's change there. Let's do this. NDI source. Cool. I wonder if that pops up just like this. Let's see. Bum, bum. All right, so let's see. Did it turn around? Yeah. So that's not all that pretty. I guess. And if you look there, still not that pretty. But it's bearable from this angle, and that's the only thing I really sort of need. That as well. Just is there. And works for me. And then that right there. So this right here is my domain. And kind of works for me. Did Myon come back? Hey, dude. Hold on. Is Myon still here? Mario? All right, hold on. Mario, I'm calling you. Come on, bro. All right. It's Mario. Hey.
Hello.
Hey, man, how are you?
I'm good. I just woke up like an hour ago.
Don't say anything weird. You're live on air. Are you cool with that?
I figured. I saw it.
All right. Hey, people. I've got Mario, i.e. Myon. Is that how you say your name, Myon?
I guess so. I mean, it's supposed to be Myon, but
yeah,
I think Marcus Schultz says like Myon.
Yeah. Well,
but I heard Myon. So
Myon.
I heard many versions, but officially it's Myon.
Meow.
I believe so.
To me, you're meow. Hey.
Meow.
So, guys, I'm kind of putting Mario on the spot here, but I called him up. He's somebody who I really, really respect, and so both musically and as a dude. We bonded nicely a couple of months ago when we had this little, I don't know, what do you call that, Geek Fest at Barbos summer house here in Finland, and that was such a fun time with everybody and with you, my man. So
I had so much fun, and I love you too, man.
Yeah,
Obviously.
likewise.
We have real bromance going on. And
Absolutely.
even before that, like I always,
Yeah.
we've been friends on Facebook, and I think we shared the same agency at one point too.
Yes. Yes, and I really liked our long, early, late in the night, early in the morning talks, and that was very quick friendship right there, like an actual one, not just a Facebook one.
I know, I loved it. That was
Yeah.
actually the first time we met in person.
Yes.
I remember entering the place after missing the flight and being I felt so nauseous because the trip to Pavel's place was like 2 hours,
Yeah.
and I got like super car sick and all that. And then I entered the room, and the first thing I see is like Ville is coming with some vodka or something. Like, yeah, welcome. I'm like, wow, I'm gonna be in good hands.
Yes. I saw that you are you jumped on the streaming stuff as well, and I saw the other morning. Actually, was it yesterday morning or the morning before? When I woke up and made some hot cereal porridge for my kids. You were going on like on your 7th or 8th hour at that point, and for the last 40 or 50 minutes of your set, I was listening to it, and you were going nuts. That's awesome.
I really enjoyed it. I never planned playing like too long. Like it's always like maybe 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
But then it becomes like something. It's always longer. Like the first time was, I believe, 7 hours, and then it was like 7.5 hours.
Yeah.
This last time was 9 hours, and I'm actually playing in 3 hours.
Yeah, that's actually. I actually wanted to get you on just now that I remembered that. Is it 9 p.m. your time that you're playing?
Yes, which is I have no idea what really would be.
Yes, but it's Hungarian time.
I believe it's CET time zone. If someone wants to search that.
Yes.
That's what I posted. I'm very easy. Like I made a flyer and everything, but I was too lazy to put like different time zones there because I figured if you Google like any time zone at any time into Google, like they're gonna tell you like what that means in your region at that wherever you were at that point at that second.
Yeah.
So
Rob, would you be kind? Rob, would you be kind and look for Myon's Twitch and post it so people can jump on a link later today?
You're awesome, man.
Well, dude, it was fun watching you do your thing. Hey, how about how freaking weird and different it is DJing like this? But it's cool, right?
It's so the funny thing is that like because when this whole Corona thing started, I was like panicking because I love performing and I had like I don't know like 25 shows lined up already.
Yeah.
And everything got canceled and and my friends were like, you should live stream, and I'm like, that thing is lame, like DJing for like yourself. I'm like, I cannot do that.
Mm-hmm.
But then I saw like Dave was doing it, and he had like hundreds of people watching, and then I saw the Anjuna stream, so I'm like, I'm gonna give it a go. And the first time I was streaming, I found myself actually being super connected to the people, even though like there was no crowd, but just reading the comments on chat, like the non-stop comments. It's like I would say it's like even a better way of DJing in terms of like the immediate feedback than the show, because they at the show they're dancing or singing, but sometimes just standing.
Yes.
You can't really decide if they love it or not. Here they're like, oh damn, fuck, shit, this is so good. You know what I mean? Like you get like the real feedback what's in their mind that second.
Yes, and what I really like about this as well is that, like, honestly, I'm going to be happy whenever I get to do actual shows for live crowds as well. But this like I think you said it somewhere. It was either in our group chat for the group or then maybe it was on Facebook. But it's so different. Like you play differently because there's no pressure of the next drop or there's you just choose music.
Yeah. I think I said that on Twitter. I got attacked by people, which is funny because when me, I like to talk shit on the internet, but it's just weird when I'm actually saying positive things and I have like a positive view about something that's not really a positive thing, which is the pandemic and the situation. And people were like, "Oh, you should change your crowd if you feel pressure to play like sick drops." I'm like, no, but you don't understand. Like in a club, when you're the headliner, you have to fulfill some kind of expectations.
Absolutely, that's exactly it.
unless you're playing an open to close set. But even then, like I ended up playing like R&B and funky classics on Sundays for like 5 hours before the mainstream, because why not? And actually, people loved it.
Yeah, but the
It's
same.
incredible. It's. I'm excited about DJing. Like when I was 14 in 2000, let's say, when I had my first residency here.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, there are these new tracks that I, downloaded from the internet, and I want to play them, and I never heard them, and now I can do it again. Like,
yes.
it's I want to do that even if I'm gonna go back on tour after it's over. Because
I'm thinking the
it's
same
awesome.
thing. Yes, I'm thinking the same thing. Like so I used to do streaming a couple of years ago. I started maybe 3 or 4 years ago initially, and I did production stuff and I did DJ sets back then as well. But it fizzled down because I got so busy that I couldn't keep like a steady schedule. And I think the key thing, I'm sure you already know this, but the key thing about streaming is that you need to have some sort of a fixed schedule so that people know and expect when to come back and when you're on again, whether it's once a week or 5 times a week, but it should be around the same time.
That's true. That's the only hard part I can see, because I struggle with even getting my weekly radio show done sometimes for like weeks, because I have to decide between, making a new episode or sleeping and then, editing vocals for the new album for hours or days. And sometimes, the radio show suffers, which should be like a regularly scheduled something.
Yes.
With the live stream, live stream is a little easier, because I think, once I have the setup going on, which I do now, I can just like jump on it
Exactly.
on decks and just do it. And the first live stream, I kind of figured out what I want to play in advance, just because that's what I've been doing forever.
Yeah. Well, I do that too.
I want to know the key relations and everything, if it's working enough or not. But today I don't even know what I'm gonna play really, because I put at least like 400, 500 tracks on my computer that I warped enabled on. Prepared to be played, but I'm just gonna give it a go, because that's like DJing. Like when you're not like playing at a festival or like a club, it's not a program set.
Yes.
You don't have, in those circumstances, you kind of have to know what you want to play and when to play your classics and whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Here, it's just you can just play and people won't go anywhere.
Yeah, and I think the appreciation comes through in a different way. And I think we're definitely, as DJs, I'm just generalizing, but I think we're definitely catching the clubbing crowd, but we're also catching some different crowds now. The people who might not go to the clubs or the festivals, but I mean, they still appreciate music. And then I
100%.
think, and I think also even the festival crowds or club crowds, but we do listen to stuff differently when we're sitting on our couch or kitchen more making porridge for our kids. We still appreciate the music, and it's not that I was gonna all of a sudden start jumping up and down when you played Catch Me on Super 8 and Tabs Helsinki Scorching or whichever it was, but I loved hearing it, and that gives me great satisfaction as a listener. And you can also do the feedback, but it's not like life and death where you either see a full-on energetic dance floor or something slowed down, which as a DJ is horrible, right? And so that's why I'm sure it never happens to you, but the point is, like, you do program something in advance so that you know where you're at, what you're going to be playing, and like you said, there's the expectation. But that doesn't mean that you're going to be playing from A to Z as you program. You're just prepared to do whatever needs to be done so that you can get a lull, or from a lull, if that happens, to another big, drop again, and the crowd going crazy. But now you don't
change it a lot, while playing, even live, like on tour. But just want to know the main, how they call it, the skeleton of the DJ set, because there are certain things you want to try or play, or that they work for, forever, or it's a new one and you want to really try it on the floor. But here you don't have to do anything.
No.
I was like cooking a couple of weeks ago, and I was like pretty, well, I wouldn't say like totally depressed, because it was only like 2 weeks of quarantine or something. And Dave Dresden was playing, and someone like invited me. And I was going to do the Twitch thing, but I didn't even have like, the whole app downloaded or anything. So I downloaded it, and I was watching Dave, and he started playing some cool stuff like Cosmos, Take Me With You, and suddenly I found myself that, I'm like, I like this, and I was in a good mood. I'm like, well, I should really do that because maybe some people would have the same reaction if
Exactly.
I start playing stuff. And yeah, this is gonna save us mentally for sure.
I think so too. And like you said, yes, from a crowd in a club or event, you see the reaction. They're going nuts or, not or whatever. They're dancing. But this, you do get, and I think the verbal feedback sometimes now it hits home even more. Like you look
Oh,
at the screen.
absolutely.
So
Oh, absolutely.
that's kind of cool. And I think, you know, I'm not afraid to say it. So I love DJing because of the music, and I'm not an attention whore, I think. But when I DJ and people go nuts and they show their appreciation, or it's because of me, so obviously that caters to my artistic vanity as well. So you're not getting that exactly right now, but you are getting the connection.
You do, because in your head, it's live, and I was curious. Like, I was checking some of the recording of the set with the comments and everything,
Mhm.
because I played some stuff that I haven't played before, and I was curious what people were saying because I didn't see it at the time when I was playing,
Yeah.
and it's just so good because I myself always go to Reddit and YouTube and read the comments because I appreciate comments, the bad ones, the good ones, all of them, because
Yeah.
I sometimes get mad about people talking mad shit, and I ended up sometimes like just changing like some stuff in my music or my sets a little bit because I just want to satisfy even the haters,
Oh,
which is probably not a good idea, but I mean you can't really learn from the the positive feedbacks because it's just gonna feed your ego and nothing else. Like, yeah, I'm cool. So
exactly.
I always look for the bad ones and try to see what I could learn from them, even though I get frustrated a little bit, or not really mad or pissed. It's more like disappointed.
Yeah.
But here it's like a live. It's like a live. It's just like when you have like ABGT 400 and above and you're playing your new track and you're checking
Yeah.
the comments and the tweets.
Yes.
It's the same feeling because now like when Armin is playing your new song, even on Twitter, the reaction is not crazy because there is so much music that they're playing every week that
Yeah.
people are kind of like calm. But now,
Yeah.
when you play, and what's even better, when you play something new on Twitch, even if it's like 300-400 people watching, you get like, I don't know, like 150 comments on every single track you play, and that's amazing.
Yeah. Exactly.
And a lot of people, I realize they follow me, they know my music sometimes, for such a long time, and I have tracks and mashups that I have for 4 years. Like I went to solo, I think 4 years ago, and I made probably like 200 mashups since. And I love the mashup stuff. And
Yeah.
people, like, every time I play them, and that was the fourth time I was live streaming, they're like, "Holy shit, what is this mashup?" I'm like, "Wow!" So there are still people that haven't, heard any of these mashups, which is crazy.
The
because
world is
I
a
would
big place,
assume
man.
that, and I was like, maybe these people are sick of these mashups, and no, they haven't even heard it. Like 90% of the people that are watching me live, they haven't heard these
Yes.
new mashups, and
Let me tell you something, man. Like, so you have to think of it this way. Why Spotify's and whatever, like the current sort of state of listenership is different. Like, because people go for the big hits and they rarely go for albums, and you have these millions and gazillions of plays. I mean, that's people playing stuff all over and over again. So if you've played your stuff in some radio shows and some club gigs here and there, only a tiny fraction of people have actually heard it repeatedly. They might have heard it once or
that's
something.
very true.
But so now if you play a 7 or 9 hour set and you don't play all your mashups all the time, like repeatedly the same thing. So they are new to so many people. And also your crowd, big part of it, I'm telling you, is new as well, who never saw you live before.
That's very true. I mean, I can see that from the comments.
Yes.
Especially that, the entire scene, like the touring scene, has become something that's almost exclusive to like North America and Asia. I never play in Europe or South America. Not because I don't want to. People think I don't want to. They're like, "Why don't you come?" I'm like, "Well, because there are like only 10 DJs that are going to certain countries, and and I'm not one of those guys at this moment. But right now, like, you can have a dance floor basically on your stream, where you can have everyone
Yeah.
from different countries. It's like your own little Tomorrowland, where people travel from different parts of the earth just to see, people playing, and we can like do that on stream.
Yep.
Which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And not even mentioning the donations, like this way, like the people when they're donating, we're making more money with that than with the streams on Spotify.
Well, because it's directly coming to you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know. I got really excited about DJing again. Like, don't get me wrong, it's not like I was not excited, but
No, personally, I know exactly what you mean, and it's cool because you said something earlier, and it was I think initially was like, oh crap, it's not the same, and it's I don't know if streaming live and DJing blah 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 is gonna cover, and it's not the same, but it's not meant to be the same, but you're finding new things in it now, like doing sets.
Yeah, because I think if DJing is a friend, you can't really expect streaming to be the same person, the same friend.
Yeah.
Streaming is a new friend, and it's just as exciting as the live stuff.
Yeah.
When I go back on tour, I actually wanna keep up the stream, and I wanna put good internet on my rider and live stream my DJ sets.
Exactly.
Why the hell not?
Exactly. Hey, let me ask you, I'm going to let you go so you can go about on your day and prep for your stuff and whatnot, but what are you working on right now yourself?
I am finishing up the new, hold on 1 second. Just 1 second.
Yep.
Just give me 1 second. Sorry. My food arrived.
Nice. Good for you.
Yeah, I am finishing up the mix compilation,
Okay.
and for that I have to finish my own original songs. Well, there's only one to be finished and like remix. And I am gonna sit down and like master like a bunch of tracks from other people. I also I'm working on an EP actually, which is gonna be not dance music stuff. It's gonna be all like 80s slow jam stuff because I don't know, I just feel like people are ready to hear any kind of music these days, and because I would feel like people would get sick of the banging stuff and like the genres and deep house, and music is music.
Yes.
And I'm doing EP with 80s, almost like these ballads, but not like the Disney kind. But like
okay. Is it coming out under Myon or something else?
Absolutely. I decided not to have aliases anymore because I had songs like the Velveteen records where people didn't even know it was me, and I remember they were talking mad shit about the remix I did of my own song, like Mine and Shane ruined the Great Divide because the original is so much better. Like, these guys are not even talented. I'm like, I did that too.
Yeah. Hey, so that is exactly. I'm jumping on that because I'm thinking of the same thing. Like, there's been I like housey stuff, and I've done some like 120, 122 stuff. I don't know if it's deep house or if it would go into like Spotify deep house playlist or whatever it is, but there are various things that I like to do. I like to do 136 trance, but maybe not exactly my old stuff, but I don't know, new stuff. I'd like to do drum and bass and all kinds of stuff.
Drum and bass record too. That's funny.
And now, dude, so here's what I think is cool. Right now, in good and in bad, you don't have to think about what kind of DJ set drop effect your track has.
Exactly. Because your DJ sets could be anything.
Yeah, and because people listen to it, in their car or home or in their headphones when they're jogging. That's it. Like whatever, but they're not in a club, in that environment, in that ambiance, collectively jumping up and down to the drop. So you can now, you can do that too. There's nothing bad about that, but you can make your 80s ballads with synth pop sounds if you want to, because music is music, and it's been now listened to, I think, in a little different way.
Absolutely. That's almost like encouraging, like more than anything.
I think so. I absolutely think so. And I think the fact then is that if you forget genres or forget the whatever BPM you wanted or should do something, just make music. And I think this gives us a window as producers and names and artists to just throw whatever out there, because the people are going to be listening to it, and it's not about the effect on the dance floor that I think a lot of us go towards, because the DJing, the touring steers us to that direction.
Absolutely. You don't have to put yourself in a box.
Yeah.
The other interesting effect I realized, like a positive effect, the whole Corona situation we have on the music industry is, there are like so many fake people that can like buy themselves into festival lineups and act like they're the cool stuff. Well, those people who don't even really DJ because they just literally push buttons and they don't make music, but get ghosted and everything, those people cannot shine anymore, because the people that are like going to play like 12 hours like Super and Tab did and release like a bunch of new music faster than you could say music, are gonna be the winners of the industry, because it's like the story with about the king that had no clothes on, but no one was like brave enough to say anything. Well, now like all these kings, like they can't walk around anymore without clothes, because it's gonna be obvious like that they're not doing anything. It's
agree.
harder to fake a DJ set on live stream.
Exactly, man.
I mean, some guy came into the chat. It was so funny, and I was playing for like 6 or 7 hours already, and he said like, "Oh, this is some shit pre-recorded set," and I was just laughing because I've heard that many times, because I don't use headphones, because I'm playing with Ableton, and I protect my ears, and I don't need the headphones, because that's the first thing that's gonna kill your hearing long term, because you're always compensating with the room, which sometimes can be so loud. And when you're drunk, you just want to crank it up. So with Ableton, I don't need to like beat match, which is not even an exciting thing, or like it's not a skill. But then people were like, they started attacking the guy, like, yeah, right.
Yeah. Well, beat matching to me, I've used Tractor for 10 years now, and I've used, Sync, not all the time, or since the beginning, but I've used it now for a long time. And I'm not ashamed of that. And I could pick up CDJs and play a set anytime I want to, I need to. That's not a thing. I always say beat matching is the same for DJing as pedaling a bike is for bike riding. You just have to know it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it really. And I pissed off a good bunch of sort of old school vinyl DJs when they tell me about the art of DJing with vinyl. And to me, the art of DJing with vinyl is to be calm enough in the DJ booth so that you don't nudge the table, so that you don't,
100%.
push the record. It's all about music. It's not about the actual gear that you play the music on.
No, I don't believe it. Yeah, exactly. I used to tell my friends, because when I shifted from vinyls like early 2000s to like those shitty CD players, I got attacked by a lot of people. Like, you're not a real DJ because it's CDs. And then I ditched the CDs and I was on laptops, and I was like reading people saying that playing from USB stick is not DJing. I'm like, wait, a CD is just as of a digital source as a pen drive, and I'm like playing with a laptop. And what I really love about not having to beat match is not because I'm lazy. It's because I can spend time on like I sometimes just throw like an acapella of one of my songs on the top of like some drum loops, or loop at the end of the song, so the transitions are smoother. And I think just being able to really pay more attention what's going on in the club and the reactions and the people's faces and the reaction overall is it's worth it if you don't have to like beat match, because sometimes you have to like, especially you have like a couple of shots of vodka and then it takes like a minute or two, and I don't want to lose minutes on stage. Plus I feel like I sometimes work months on a record. I don't want to like overwork in the DJ booth. I just want to really enjoy playing. Like, I want to be connected to the people without sounding cliche.
I know. So I had a revelation at one point. So initially I played live sets. I did. I had some hardware and hardware sequencer, sampler, and I had broken my own tracks to little bits, and so I did live shows. And then I had sort of background CD. That's how I actually learned how to DJ too, like beat match.
Oh,
I
I think you told us that that story. I
yeah.
remember. Yeah.
So I had different layers of my tracks on 2 CDs, and that was like my background tape, and I played on top of that. But then when I started DJing, I was the digital DJ that the old school DJs were, you know, looking crooked at. But I didn't care at that point. But in the back of my head, I was still like subconsciously, like not embarrassed, but if I was in a DJ booth and behind me were DJs, I would be like, whoa, shit, they see me do what I do and blah, blah, blah. You know, what do they think of me? But then at one point I realized, sort of what you said too, music can be played, you know, as just those pieces of music, and I can add or as little or as much to it as I want. And I stopped, well, I don't think I was doing it too much, but I stopped totally pretending that I'm doing a lot in the booth. Like at one point I felt that I need to like touch shit all the time and do shit all the time. But when you see me DJ now, I do only, you know, I do faders up, I do EQs, and I do sometimes a lot, but I do all those things. But I've seen a lot of DJs who just like constantly mess with shit all the time, and it doesn't do anything to the sound. And at one point I got comfortable with not doing anything, just looking at the crowd, just being there, listening to the track that I'm playing, whether it's somebody else's track or mine, enjoying the music like I was a person in the crowd. Like I got comfortable with that, and once I understood that I don't have to fucking do everything all the time, DJing became a lot easier for me in a comfort sense.
I agree. However, I was like rewatching. I recorded the set for Dream States, and it's like an hour-long one, and it was like not live. I mean, in the sense of like it wasn't on stream. I just had to record the video, the 1-hour video, and then I'm constantly touching the knobs. But it's just some kind of OCD. I'm a control freak.
Yeah, it's a habit.
Music. And it's so bad. Like, I was embarrassed. I almost wanted to re-record it because I'm sure a lot of people will be like, this guy is touching the knobs and it's not doing anything. Well, I was only touching knobs because I used to have the control boot knob doing actually something. And I always adjust the volume so I don't overkill my ears. And I keep wanting to like turn it down sometimes. And I just can't.
Yeah.
Because it's only the master out that's going into my speakers.
Yep.
And the other thing is like the effects. Like I always want to make sure that it's on like, you know, the right quantize. Because sometimes I leave it on like, you know, on a different setup, and I always check like if it's on the right one. Sometimes the tempo is not the right one because the auto tempo detects like, you know, like
yeah.
And it thinks it's like 200 BPM and all that crap. And it looks it looks bad. So now I added this controller that has a bunch of effects that I use in the studio, like the Dead Alive and Less My plugin and whatnot. So when I have the urge of doing something, because I would just feel awkward standing there, especially on live stream.
Yeah.
I can do stuff and it actually sounds good, and you know.
Yes, and I mean,
I'm one of those knob touchers.
No, but dude, I am too. I fully get it, but I did it so that people wouldn't think that I'm not doing anything. But now I can stand there for 2 minutes because, you know, my cueing is automatic, and when I press play, it's to the beat right away, and I know where I want to mix in and out or start the track in and out.
100%.
So I have time. I have that 2 minutes, and I can just like lift my head up. I can look at the crowd, look at that girl there, look at that guy there, try and reach and see if I can see in the back and this and that, and I don't have to like fake and pretend and think. I don't think negative things or like how people will see me or not. I am there like just kind of like open, like, hey, I'm not doing anything right now. I'm just like enjoying the moment. And
I'm definitely the guy who's looking at that girl.
And and when I got to that sort of space, you know, sort of that kind of stress went away. There easily is that that sort of, hey, I need to do shit. But
you know, let me tell you something really funny. The first 10 shows we were doing as mine and Shane 54, like, so me and Shane both started working with Ableton, like for DJing, like using Ableton for DJing. I think in 2001 or 2, like Ableton 1.0 when it was only repitch.
Yeah.
Because it was just it was just an easier way to do everything. So we never used headphones. And when we started DJing together, I told him like we have to carry headphones because if we have the headphone on, even though we don't have to do anything, people will think that people won't think that we fake it. Because I figured that people would because people are talking shit about like Paul van Dyke or Sasha
Uh-huh.
and I was like if they're getting all that mad shit and mad hate, then ooh man, it's not gonna be good. So we were carrying a headphone, and then at one point I just literally like, threw that because the headphone wasn't even working because we didn't need it.
Yeah.
And we constantly had to put it on each other's heads, and it was like sweaty, and all
Yeah.
those problems that you have. And I told him, I'm like, listen, if someone's really complaining about anything, I'm gonna go home and make a video and show them, like, look, that's what I'm doing. Like, that's why I'm playing with Ableton.
Yeah.
Because I can still do anything I want. I can skip a drop, or a break, or a second breakdown, or loop a section. Like so many things that I could not do with CDJs.
Yeah.
My life would be easier with CDJs because I just show up, plug it in, boom.
Exactly.
But with Ableton, it's a little bit more complicated, but it's still more freedom. And not even mentioning that, when you're smashed, you don't really have to think about beat matching. And that's amazing.
Mario, you mentioned vodka and being smashed like 8 times now. Do I have to be worried?
Well, I've been home for 7 weeks, but more like 5 months though.
Yeah.
I only moved out of my house like a couple of times in 5 months because I was working on the album stuff. Like since Finland. Finland was the last time I went anywhere.
Yeah. Hey, man, do you know what? I'm going to. So I'll plug this for you as well. But so this is something that I'm going to be doing. Like I'm going to be DJing once a week, like sort of according to schedule officially. So that's on Fridays, and that's 6 p.m. my time. And then I'm going to do this. This is called Dial It In, and there's a WhatsApp number so people can send me messages, and I'll call fans and followers randomly. But then I am planning to do this, what we're doing right now. I'm planning to call awesome people like you. I'm going to probably start with whoever wants to do it, like Andy and Dave and Pavo and whoever. And I want to do this Wednesday as half, I say jokingly, but I'm only half joking. I want to do half like Dr. Phil and Joe Rogan.
Nice.
So I want to talk with my fans. I want to connect this way and not even play music. Or I might eventually do some sound pads or beds in the background. But I want to do that on Wednesdays.
I think it's a genius idea.
And then
my friend Nick Wax told me you're doing this, and I'm like, I need to integrate something into my live stream like this. Mm-hmm. So thanks for the tip, man.
Yeah, but I'm actually sort of separating these like strictly sort of. So it's Dial It In on Wednesdays, and parts half of it will be talking with fans, but half of it I want to do these chats or interview things with you guys. And I think that could be very interesting for the crowd as well. And at some point, I'm going to do them as possibly video chats as well, so we could see you. So we can do this again sometime.
Anytime, man.
Yeah.
You know where to find me. I'm home.
Yes. And so on Fridays I'll do the DJing stuff, and then Mondays I'll do production stream. And those are my 3 locked ones. I do those always, but then sometimes I feel like doing something on Tuesdays and Thursdays or Saturdays, whatever, and I'll just pop on the stream and mess around. But those will be the sort of the locked ones.
People appreciate this all the time. My streams were always random because I just couldn't really schedule it out because there are so many things going on, and I never had like less or more people watching. So it's encouraging that wow, I don't have to like really announce it and sell tickets and whatnot. And yeah, people just show up. They're like, oh, it's gonna be good times.
Cool.
I love it.
All right,
love it.
Mario, lovely to talk with you as always. Let's stay healthy.
Absolutely, likewise.
Let's stay healthy and let's stay positive. And you know where to find me. And let's do this again sometime. And
I'm down, man. And thanks for calling me.
Of course,
fun,
man.
And, it was good to hear your voice, buddy.
Likewise, my man. And I'm gonna be probably lurking on your stream tonight a little bit. So
nice. I think
have
I'm
fun,
starting
man.
in what, like 2 hours? Oh shit.
Cool, man. I'll catch up with you later.
Thank you, man.
Bye.
You guys have fun over there, and
All
I'm
right.
gonna check the chat while I'm taking a shower and everything. So yeah,
Cool, man. Later.
thanks for calling. Cheers, guys.
Bye. Wow. So that is my man Mario, aka Myon. Myon Music with MYONMUZIK. And there was, I believe, the link there. Thank you, Rob. Give Myon a follow. Mario is a freaking amazing dude. He's so talented, and the mashups he was talking about, I think he's one of the most talented guys figuring out what goes with what, and he is really hard worker with his all of his original music, but also the DJ sets with the mashups and edits. I was just listening to his set the other night, and every other track was a mashup that had perfectly fitting vocals with perfectly working, whatever instrumental there was, and that takes a good ear to do that. So props to Mario, and go check out his stream tonight. And like I said, I'm gonna start doing this sometime. I don't know actually yet if I'll be announcing who I'm gonna invite or talk with, or if I would just do that as a surprise. We'll see about that. Maybe it would be good to get the info beforehand so I can actually promote it with some names. I mean, that would work better promotions-wise for me, but then also this is kind of cool, very in a very organic way as well. All right, so let's see. Arja from Tornio is asking how I am dealing with the coronavirus stuff, and thanks for asking, Arja. I am doing great, and my family is doing great here. A little bit mökkihöperö. Everybody is. Cabin fever is, hitting us, but it's all right. We'll survive. All right, so guys who are listening to me right now, I've got a poll on Twitter, and I'll look that up for you. And I'm gonna do another one of the same thing, pull it up or put it up on come on, I can't talk at the same time. Put it up on Instagram as well. But there we have the link. Hold on a sec. No, where do I find the link? There. Next Monday, I am going to do a project breakdown of one of 3 tracks. Either my track Calm Before the Storm, my track Tell Me, or my track Coming Home. And it's the In the Studio stream, and you can define which one. There's now this link on Twitter, and I'm going to do one on Instagram as well, maybe Facebook as well. And Calm Before the Storm seems to be winning right now, but you guys get to choose by voting on the poll. Which track am I going to dissect, do a full breakdown, play single sounds, show how it was put together and how the creative process happened. I'm going to do that next Monday, and on Friday I'm going to be DJing. And then yeah, I don't want the dark mode right now. And this is what I'm going to be doing, maybe not every Monday, but every other Monday or whatever, like go through my back catalog productions, show the projects, show some of the sounds, explain what I did, how and why, and probably many of the things I can't explain because it's just shit happened while I was working on it and so on. Okay. And then, yeah, I think, you know what, it's a good idea. Somebody said, so what I'm going to be doing is I will, at some point, I don't know if it's next Wednesday already, but I'm going to sort my sort of guests or the calls that I'm going to be doing, and I'm going to announce them beforehand so that you could send me questions to be asked from those people ahead of time. I think that would be something interesting because I'm going to be sort of, you know, several of them I know very closely that I'm planning on having on, and some of them are only colleagues that I've recently gotten to know or something, so then I have to do some background research on them, but then you might have questions that I might not be able to, you know, think of myself. Vicious Code, The Fields of Love by ATB and, oh man, what is going on with my York? I cannot do a full breakdown of because that was done at the J16 studio and with this gear, so I don't have those files anymore. And I can let you guys know right now, I have some of the first album tracks recreated in the current DAW Logic, but not all of them. And with the rest of them that I don't, I'm actually in the process of sort of extracting samples and loops and, you know, vocals out of them so that I can make new versions of them myself, because unfortunately my first album was made with Jaakko J16 Salovaara in his studio, and well, that's not the unfortunate part, but unfortunately we don't have like stems or tracks printed out of those sessions. We only have the master files, and Jaakko also doesn't have the same gear anymore, so we've lost a lot of the samples and a lot of the sequences that were used back then. So if I want to show those tracks in Logic now, I would have to like recreate the whole thing, which I can't easily, exactly at least, but I can still sort of do breakdowns of those tracks and tell about the creation process. Double Helix, when I'll let you guys all know. I think when we do promo, for instance, next week, if we would have Mario, who we had today, but let's use him as an example. I would announce, you know, on Tuesday maybe or early on Wednesday, but like, hey, we're gonna do Dial It In, and the guest is gonna be Mario, and just shoot your questions here. So you would do that on Twitter, for instance, or Instagram, in just under the post, and I would go through those before the stream. Wild Days, yes, I have all of that. And I, for instance, have, well, Sandstorm and Feel a Bit I have recreated because I've needed to make mixes and variations and all kinds of stuff of those over the years. I have good bit of Burning, good bit of Out of Control, good bit of many tracks, but I don't have like the full original projects that that we made them on. My MacBook Pro specs are, it's the highest spec 6-core, let me see, so I'm not talking crap, about this Mac, let's do that. So it's a 2.9 gig Intel Core i9, 6-core one, 32 gigs of memory, and I have a 2 TB hard drive and a Radeon 560X with 4 gigs of memory. Oh. My wife's reminding me of a camera angles. I'm looking up and you're not there. Thanks, dear. Oh no, I forgot. I need the professional system where there's tally lights on the camera, so I know who I'm talking to or which camera I'm talking to. Well, Jake, we will be doing highlighting and some other stuff as we go here. To be completely honest, we're just getting going, and there's another whole full world in doing the streaming, but then also before and after promotions and after usage, and we're getting into all of that. And I've got people working on doing the highlights, and there are various things that you can do on Twitch, for instance. There's there's the highlights and clips, what have you, and you can do the same thing for YouTube. And then, I mean, I'm going to leave all of these dialed-in ones, for instance, up on both. But then, like you said, we could chop them up to smaller bits and keep on posting, you know, highlights. And for instance, a Mario call was really cool this time. I think I'm going to do one more call tonight, and then I'm going to start calling it a day. Who do we have here? Okay. All right. Saskatoon. Let's try that.
Hello.
Hello. Is this Saskatoon?
How are you doing today? Yes.
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you?
Not too bad. Just watching your stream.
All right.
Sitting on my couch. Relaxing, staying safe.
All right, nice. Well, good. What is your favorite piece of music at the moment that you're listening to?
Basically all the genre. I don't have my favorite right now, but usually when I'm driving my car, I'm listening to your tracks, especially the old one.
Okay.
Hip hop, some metal, pretty much all the stuff.
All right, nice. Good, good. And do you have a souped-up sound system in your car, or is it the car system is good?
I used to drive Audi 2002 with Audi Symphony.
Oh, nice.
The basic one, so it sounds good.
Yeah.
Right now I'm driving Jeep with normal sound system, and it's decent.
Yeah. Well, you know, for a good while now, the built-in systems have actually been quite good compared to like 80s little crappy things because back then, you know, the regular cars didn't really, or the manufacturers didn't really pay attention to sound that much. But these days, they're actually quite good coming, you know, standard.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, you were here in Saskatoon 2018.
I do.
2 years ago.
I do, man.
Yeah, and I missed the opportunity to see you live because I was sick, and
It was
I don't
cold.
know if you remember.
It was cold.
It was
as fuck.
super cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, minus 30, minus 40, I guess.
Yeah, it was really cold then. I do remember that, and we had a great party though, so I'm sorry you missed it.
Yeah, unfortunately. So I'm looking for another opportunity to see you.
Nice. Did you happen to catch my call with Myon earlier?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I was amazed how long you talked to Myon.
Yeah, Mario, he's a good guy, and he's a great DJ as well and producer. So you should check out his stream. I don't know. I think he starts maybe in 2 hours, if I'm correct. But he said 9 p.m. CET. I think he said so.
Right now I have 11 a.m., so I'm not sure, to be honest, which time.
Yeah, well,
which time it will be.
I can tell you. I can tell you it is. I have time zones. Whoa, hold on a second. Boom. No, there. No, that's the wrong one. No, there. Hold on just a sec. Mario, I'm doing you a favor, bro. Let's do here. Well, yeah, so cool. So it's it is CEST, I guess. It's 7 p.m. there now. Yeah. So, or 7, whatever, 11. So in 2 hours, less than 2 hours, Mario is on. And it's Myon Music on Twitch. You should check that out.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Yeah.
I had another question, but I totally forgot because I'm stressed, and I'm super surprised you called me.
Well, you know, be careful what you wish for, man.
Oh yeah, especially nowadays, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, hey, cool. I'm happy that you're watching my stream. I'm hoping that you and your family, everybody's safe and doing what needs to be done. The freaking hand washing, endless hand washing, and being social distancing, and so on and so on. And I hope you'll get through this just fine. And we could touch base another time. And if you figure out the question, you could just send a message to either the chat or to the WhatsApp number.
Oh yeah, I will do that.
Cool,
for
man.
sure.
All right.
Okay, thank you very much for your call.
No problem, man. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Thanks. Bye. Stay safe.
Likewise.
Thank
man.
you.
Bye. All righty then. So I'm gonna. Guys, I think I'm gonna get moving soon. Do I enjoy teaching my kids? Yes. My son was here the other night or the other day, and we actually we did a cover version of one of his favorite tracks, mine as well, by the way, Alan Walker, Faded. And which he's learned on a piano a couple of years ago, and he sort of did a refresher before coming in the studio, and then he played the piano parts in, and then I showed him how we can sort of beef it up a little bit, layer the pianos a little bit, and add some pad sounds from my synths, and some arpeggio sounds, some bass, and it was really such a fun thing to do. And so I actually thought of I thought of a little theme that I can use him, so to say, but I can teach him, but I can also use those as sort of I don't know, tutorials or teaching moments for anybody wanting to do that, because I do a lot of my, and I especially did, but still do a lot of my music making learning by what other people are doing, and I analyze it a lot, and I then apply what I learned to my own tracks. So if there's like a production technique, like how did they get this and that to sound like that, and I think about it and I try to analyze it, and I try it myself, and then I find how they did it, or at least how I get something similar sounding like as a, you know, whether it's how a bass fits in a mix or whatever it is. So I learned by doing that. But so I showed my son sort of electronic production, sort of basics, adding layers and doing recording in parts first and then expanding it to a full arrangement, and there's a little breakdown and build up and chorus and this and that, and it was really cool. But what I want to do next, take it to the next level, is that now he learned that with me from Alan Walker's song Faded. But now I think next time what we're going to do is we're going to use the same project in the beginning, but we're going to take out all the Alan Walker faded composition. So we're just going to take out the main melody, the main chord progression, but we can then create a song of his own. And I'm actually now in a process of making him, so to say, find out a melody that he wants to do, or chord progression on his piano in the house, and just figure that out first, and then we can come to the studio and do same kind of session that we already did, but in place of Alan's melody and chords, we're going to put his own. So that's he's going to actually create a piece of music of his own, and sort of the production and arrangement stuff is now sort of already there, so he could just apply how the Alan song compositionally works, and then how we did our arrangement of his cover to his own original song. So I think that's pretty cool. How to say this? AJ Leo music, Aj Leo. I don't know how to say that. Sorry. I think I'm not going to take any more calls today, but please feel free and shoot another message next Wednesday. We'll do this again, and if you have just any other question that you can even shoot a message right now, and I can maybe just answer it. But I think I'm not going to do another call. Oh, you opened for me in Calgary. Oh, AJ, yeah. Cool. Well, nice to see you again, man. All right. Yeah, Super 8 and Tab went nuts. That's one of my things, by the way, why I'm not doing a DJ stream every time, because everybody is doing it, and I really appreciate that, obviously, and I'm doing a DJ stream myself, but I also want to do just something like this as well, so that I can do different things in different streams, and that's why I'm sort of branding them or promoting them as separate things, in the studio, dial it in, and then vibing out. And I have a little bit of, in case you haven't noticed, but I have a little bit of a theme. Here's the yellow, and by the way, my lights in the room are yellow, but it's still lit outside, so we can't actually see them that well. But anyway, we have vibing out. It's sort of purpley, darker thing, and then we have blue stuff for the studio, blue and green. And I'm trying to sort of make a little separation between those. It's all me, but doing different things. AV123, how's my studio constructed? It is constructed concrete bunker. I actually have double width or thickness, sort of northern Scandinavian weatherproof cinder block walls with air gap in between, and double isolation which I wouldn't need for this building. It's actually a garage normally, but because it's a studio, I don't want to disturb the neighbors and I don't want them to disturb me, so I made a hefty bunker. I also have a slab of concrete above me, and this room has been treated. There's a sort of a that thing behind me is I want to say like triangular shape. It has absorbing materials in it, and it makes it so that the sound waves actually bounce towards those walls first, and then kind of there, i.e. behind these little sound walls there, I got a quite dead mixing spot here, but the room is not dead, which I don't like, because my earlier studio was a little too dead. Those are also attenuating walls, or like they lessen the reflections here. And that back wall is 40% gap, and which is and behind it is absorbing material, and then 60% wall, so it has a little bit of a reflection qualities to it. And what else? I've got a soundproof toilet there, and I got a soundproof vocal booth right there as well. Take that out. Yeah, the Hotline Bling remix. You can't find it because it's not it's not shared. Let's see if I can quickly find it. Hotline. There we go. There we go. Let's see. I'm not supposed to do this, but what? You don't see the carrot? It's right here. Guys, just to let you know, I'm not going to play the whole thing here because I'm going to leave this stream up. I'm just going to show a little bit of it.
Yeah. 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 You used to call me all night. 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 You used to call me on my cell phone. Yeah. 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 You used to call me all night. You used to call me on my cell phone. Yeah. 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 You used to call me all night. You used to call me on my cell phone.
Fair warning, I'm just gonna cut it out after this. Hold on.
You used to call me all night.
I got him.
You used to call me late night when you hit.
All right, guys. Just to give you a tiny little clip. Yeah, I had fun with that. It's actually made on top of my or with my track with 2 AM and Jojo Haig. It's called Crazy World. I just took all the Crazy World stuff out of it and used the basic track to fit Hotline Bling on it. It really got some eyebrows lifted at a couple of clubs where I played it. But it's really cool because the track is like half tempo of whatever that is, 134. So when you go, when you play it at a club and it goes into the actual break beat or the hip hop beat part, and it has a lot of big sub bass, people go like, whoa. It was funny seeing those. And then they're like, hold on, Darude is playing Drake? What's, So nice little reactions, but I actually enjoy that kind of stuff. I enjoy throwing in something funny or different or something like, the other day when I did my DJ set here, I played a Britney Spears track, which I normally obviously don't do. It kind of doesn't fit my genre that well, but my buddy J16 made a cool like housey mix of a track called Overprotected a long time ago, and that's just funny how people are like, well, you play Britney Spears, but it's just a nice work what Jaakko did, and it works really great in a set. And I played it here and there, and I mean, the original song is quite nothing like what he did, but obviously the vocal is the same. So when you play it, people are jamming to the beats, and then she starts singing, and people are like, am I hearing this right? And but then they just have to admit that it works because, you know. What's Rob's role? Rob is the ruler of this chat. The toilet being soundproof, it just has to do with the fact that that end of the studio is dedicated to the vocal booth mainly, obviously. And that is soundproofed so that this control room doesn't go there, so I can actually listen to my monitors while somebody's singing there. I don't have to listen with my headphones only. But then it was no point not building the whole wall soundproof. And then also, sort of by accident, but when we ordered doors, those are actually soundproof doors, and we just, instead of ordering one soundproof door for the sound or the vocal booth, we actually ordered two. So now the toilet has a soundproof room or door as well. So that's, you know, thus a soundproof toilet. It actually works well because, well, if you want to think about it, there's one practical thing why it's good. Sometimes if I would get especially a female writer, a singer-songwriter here, and then it's quite, you know, small room, and you know, just with somebody you don't know, and you know, we would have a long session and they would want to go do their thing in the toilet. It's nice that it's soundproofed so that they don't have to worry that you know, somebody would hear them. Did Fox come to Finland to record Surrender? No, she did not. Surrender vocals were recorded, actually I don't know exactly where, but in the US, where she lives at a studio somewhere, and I believe she's in Cali now. And so just, you know, the magic of internet, Ashley and I got those vocal recording files over the internet. Okay, guys, let's see if I have something in Logic that I can play. One more thing. the most common chords in the world. Yeah, piano. I wish I knew how to play the black box piano riff. It's dun 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 dun. Yeah, I should wrap it up. What? Oh. AM for everything. Whoa. What about the all-time classic of the night from Real McCoy? That should be easy. Again, AA. How about this? It's too much delay. Okay, so anybody, can you think of the track that I'm trying to play? $10 points. Exactly, Dr. Alban. Yeah, cool. All right, guys, this is getting long-winded and so on. Next Wednesday, dial it in, and I'm gonna figure out somebody like Myon to call to, and I'm going to be possibly promoting that on Tuesday or early on Wednesday, so you can send questions and we'll do this again. I'm gonna call some of you guys. I'm gonna chat and respond to your questions. And that's dial it up. I could dial it in, and we're gonna wind it down right now. Same time on Friday. It's gonna be vibing out. We're gonna do Sandstorm first because it's the Sandstorm Balcony Jam in Finland. And we're gonna start from there, and then we are going to be doing 2 hours of DJ mixing, and I'm gonna check out your comments. And this time I'll be doing somewhat of a sort of regular set of mine. So not all classics, but I'm gonna go through a bunch of new stuff from Armada, Anjuna, Vandid, Suanda, what have you. I just already downloaded them the other day. And before Friday, I'm going to be going through those. And then I'll play some new music for you. But maybe I'll slip in the Hotline Bling as well. And then Monday, we're going to do a studio stream. One of 3 tracks is going to be broken down to bits. Either Tell Me, Coming Home, or Calm Before the Storm, and you get to decide. I have already posted a poll on Twitter, and I'm gonna do one on at least Instagram, maybe Facebook as well. And that is it for you guys. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'm gonna play this track that shouldn't cause any copyright issues with anybody because I've not registered it. It's a chill track that I made a long time ago, actually 2013, when I came back from Amsterdam dance event, and I had a long layover in Stockholm Arlanda airport, and when I was landing I shot a video of that landing, and it looked so gorgeous, and it inspired me to create a track. And while I was waiting in the lounge at the airport, just made this, and I'm gonna play it for you right now. Boom. Remember to wash your hands, be safe, do the social distancing, and let's be thankful for our frontline heroes, the health care system professionals. Supply chain people. Wow, I'm redlining. Sorry guys. Yes, delivery drivers, people working at shops, everybody who is helping out right now. Hello, Lebanon.